And welcome to this very new and exciting tutorial. That's not me, that's Video Copilot. My name is Mr. Popo and we are Popo. Today I'm gonna be showing you how to create the GMUNK transition, the famous GMUNK glitchy transition that looks so detailed and it looks so hard, but actually it is very simple. It's beautiful and it has a lot of details and that's what I like. My name is Mr. Popo, let's roll. Alright, so before we jump into the tutorial, I think we should discuss what we're going to be doing. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find a way to transition from one picture to another. And then we'll figure out the way to actually reveal this using that glitch reveal beauty that we see here. Once we do that, we're going to add more detail to the reveal so that it doesn't look straight ahead simple effect. Because this is simple. Once we do the detail, we're gonna move into glitching all these things that are around. And the reason we're gonna do this is to actually complement the reveal transition and so that it doesn't look cheesy. And that's what separates professionals, GMUNK, Toros Kose, and other Reddit motion designers. And once we do all these details, we're gonna go and add extra effects to add even more beauty paths to the transition and the look of the transition, like drop code form here, as you can see. Once that's done, obviously we can jump into adding all these hot details that you can see here, these things here, and of course add a little bit of beauty complete pass, and that is adding the color correction. So our main goal is to go from here to here. So we're gonna start by importing these two. I'm gonna get this one, I'm gonna put it here, and I'm gonna get this one, I'm gonna put it here as well. And I can see that this is a little bit too big. And that's exactly what she said. So I'm just gonna put it somewhere around here. Perfect. Now I'm gonna close this. Before the start of the tutorial, I made sure I actually take all the sound cues and put them together. And here we have 4 sound cues where 4 glitch steps that we need to do. To do a glitch step, we're gonna use what we call toggle hold keyframe. Let me show you how that works. So at first, I'm gonna take this one. I'm gonna go to scale. I'm gonna put a keyframe here. Then I'm gonna go one more. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Then I'm gonna go a little bit more, I'm gonna add. And here I'm gonna just show roughly where that thing is. Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try to match that. Perfect. Now if I look at this one, this is what I'm gonna have. All right, that's okay. All right, but that's not really what we want. If I select my keyframes and right click toggle hold keyframes, After Effects is not going to have any animation in between them, as you can see. There is no animation in between. It only changes once it arrives here. And that's what gives us this steppy look. Toggle hold keyframes is to have steppy looks. Alright, so pop. Great. Now let's hear it with the sound so that we can see the effect. You can feel it already. Great. Now let's fit it even more by going into our second picture, bringing it here, doing alt brackets so that I can open it at this exact moment. I'm gonna do a scale at the very end, all right? Because I know that the scale is gonna end here. And then I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna scale this a little bit down. And then I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna scale it a little bit down. And again, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna scale it even more down. And again, the same thing, I'm gonna go and toggle hold keyframe. So what's gonna happen is this is gonna start scaling up. All right, so right now what we need to do is we're gonna go and create that main reveal. And I'm gonna do this with creating a new composition. I'm gonna call this snake reveal. And you're gonna see why I called it so. I'm gonna go and grab my pen tool and I'm gonna start roughly creating that snake shape. It is really important to respect the order of where I put my points. All right, cool. Now we have the snake shape, but I need to fill in the whole screen with it. So I'm just gonna go and make sure that my strokes are gonna fill in the whole. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and do a trim path. Trim path, what it does is basically just animate this line shape exactly from the starting point of where I put them. That's why the order was really important. Now I'm just gonna go put a keyframe here, go a little bit and put another keyframe. But I'm just gonna go and bring it a little bit earlier. So what we have now is this. Now, it's a little bit too fast, so I'm just gonna put it like this. There we go. Now, I'm gonna go back here, and I'm gonna go and bring in the snake reveal. And I'm gonna bring in the comp and put it exactly where this all starts. So you can see exactly what I'm gonna start doing. And to actually use that as a mask, I'm gonna use alpha matte. All right, so what's gonna happen now is this, all right? So this is already given me exactly what I was looking for. But this is what I call the Reddit transition. This is like really beginner transition. What we're looking for is adding more and more details to that. And for that, we're gonna use an effect that actually gives me a lot of details, and that is called fractal noise. So I'm gonna create a new solid, and I'm gonna call this fractal noise transition detail. Perfect. Now, before I do anything else, I'm gonna go and put in my fractal noise and change this into block. Now, I can see that everything is a little bit blocky, which is perfect. Now, I'm just gonna go put this one here and use this as an alpha matte. So what's gonna happen is I can see this way. So if I just go back and try to see this transition, okay, so it's like nothing really that different. But if I use the Luma matte use exactly the right values. Alpha matte sees it as it's white or it's black. If there is some detail, then I'm gonna think that it's fully white. And if there is a little bit of detail, I'm just gonna call it as black, as still white. But if there is nothing, there is nothing. But Luma matte looks exactly at the right detail of black and white shades. So that's why now this looks more detaily than what we had previously with just the stroke. All right, but we're gonna go and try to make this even better. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go and try, let's just say, to animate this. So I'm gonna go to evolution. I'm gonna use a expression. I could actually go and do a keyframe here and go all the way to the end and just animate this by myself. But if I try to make this even farther, the composition even longer, the composition even shorter, I'm gonna have to keep on adjusting the keyframe, and that's not how we do things. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna reset this, and I'm gonna use an expression to do this for me, and that is called time multiply something. I'm just gonna say like 100. So what's gonna happen is After Effects is gonna replace this effect with the timing. How much does this equal? Times 100. So if it's 1 frame, he's gonna time it by 100, and so on and so forth. When it's gonna be 1 second, 1 second times 100, that's 100. So that's exactly what's happening here. So you can see that there is a little bit of animation in here. So if I go back here and I try to play it, you can see that there is still a little bit of animation playing, and that's amazing. It's good, but not good enough. So what I'm gonna do then is I'm gonna go and give a little bit of details to this, because this is just too straight. We don't do this. So I'm gonna go and do a Gaussian blur first. And I'm gonna Gaussian this so that I can get more details. Now, if I go back here, you see, that's extremely better. It is way better than what it was before. But we're gonna go and add even more detail by not having this faded. I'm gonna use a mosaic effect. I'm gonna use sharp colors, and I'm gonna try to give more detail to the shape that I'm having here, like so, probably. Yeah, there we go. All right, there we go. Perfect. Now that works for us. That really, really works for us. But we can make this even way, 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 way better. And for this, we're gonna use what we call the CC image wipe. Now, if I try to show you an example to show you only this picture, I'm gonna go and create image wipe. Image wipe is basically an effect that is way better than just opacity. This uses the picture values to bring in an image in or bring it out. If I use opacity, it's not going to be as this good. If I use the opacity, the whole image disappears. You see that? But if I use CC image wipe, it's a little bit more glitchy. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So at the end, my CC image in this picture is going to be full. But here, if we just look at it alone, let's just say it's going to be around 50. All right. So this is how my transition is going to be. And before, see that? So I have even more details of how it's coming. Perfect. Now that we have that in place, I think it's a little bit better if we go and add a little bit more detail into how this actually reveals. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna use a displacement map. I'm gonna use this picture as its own displacement. Now, let me explain to you what does a displacement do. Now, I'm using the picture in itself. I could use a picture map, but I'm gonna use this as itself. And if I play with the horizontal values, my picture is gonna be distorted according to that. And if I try to distort it vertically or horizontally on the other way, I don't know how it's called, so that's a little bit awkward, but yeah, you got my point. And I'm gonna use it here. So I'm just gonna go and say 50-50 from the beginning. Picture, pick. And as it's about to finish, it comes back to 0, 0. And preferably a little bit earlier. Yeah. So it's like it's loading and then in the same time, it goes back to its place. We can have even a little bit of variation by actually offsetting each value like that. So it doesn't look very strict. Okay, so that is about the main reveal. Now we're gonna have to add even more details into this reveal so that it doesn't look cheesy. Now, to explain what we're going to be doing to add even more details, I need to explain to you what is primary, secondary, and tertiary system. In other words, what I like to call the big, medium, and small details. How can you add details into something that you don't know how to add details to? So, for example, we have here 3 shapes. It's exactly the same. This is our primary. This one is our primary shape. It's just a shape, there is no detail, it's basically not telling any story, and it's not fun to look at. It's just nothing. It's just... Now, using the secondary, primary, and tertiary principles of design, we're gonna add medium secondary detail to this one by taking this, cutting it into different pieces to make more details into it. For example, like this. So we just took this shape and we use the quarter of it, we put it here, and the other quarter we divide it into 2 and we put it in different places. Now this looks much more interesting than this. Now looking at this, it's okay, but it's still not enough. Now we're gonna add the last principle of design, and that is called the tertiary system or the small detail step. And basically what you do is you take the medium, the secondary details, and you cut them into pieces to make more details. Like this. So this looks more interesting than this because we added more details by respecting the rule of nature of primary, secondary, and tertiary details. There is more information about this system and principle of design. I'm going to put the link in the description. So the first thing I'm going to do then is create a new composition, and I'm going to call this mosaic. All right. I'm gonna create a new solid. I'm gonna call this big details. And to do this, I'm gonna call in the fractal noise, use the same concept of a block, take down the complexity so that we can see only one block, make this a little bit too big, and obviously scale down on the number of squares there. Scale down on the number, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to evolution. I'm gonna put this times 100. Now what I'm gonna have is a constant this going on. All right, perfect. What I'm gonna do now is come here, do a linear color key, and remove the black. So what I have basically is I just removed the black. So we have just these white things. Now I'm gonna show you why we're gonna use this. We're gonna use the concept of adjustment layer here. So I'm gonna go here, put this one here, put this one all on top, and we have these blocks going all over our screen while this whole animation is playing. But the thing is, I don't want to use this block as they are. I want to use them an adjustment layer. Now, any content that is in this will affect everything below. For example, if I go to curves and I try to curve this, as you can see, anything that is the content of that composition or layer will affect everything. And that's exactly how an adjustment layer works. Adjustment layer is just a solid that has this turned on. That's it. So I'm gonna go use this concept, but then this time I'm gonna glitch thing using the mosaic effect. So I'm gonna go like 250 by 250. And what's gonna happen is After Effects is gonna be glitching everything here, as you can see. It would be amazing if I could just see a little bit more. Okay, cool. All right, so we have all these things. I think it's a little bit too little, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more. I think the problem with this one is that it's so slow, so I'm gonna go and actually add even more. Now we're gonna be able to see them. Yeah, as you can see, we can actually see the glitchiness going on. But that's good, but that's not good enough. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this, duplicate it, and I'm just gonna go and remove this. Now what do I have? I'm gonna call this medium. So I have exactly the same thing, but I don't want it to be the same thing. So I'm gonna go and make this a little bit smaller first, like so, to be just the medium size of that one. And then I'm gonna go and actually play with the random seed. So I'm gonna put a keyframe here, and I'm gonna use the toggle hold keyframe trick. I'm gonna go for like 4 frames, and I'm gonna change this a bit. I'm gonna go for a bit, change this again. I'm gonna go again, change this a bit more, come back, loop it. All right, now what I need to do now is I need to go and loop this, but I don't want to keep on copying and pasting the frame, so I'm going to use an expression, and that's called loop out. Now After Effects is going to keep on looping that. Now this is really perfect. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this, duplicate it. I'm going to call this small. Exactly, you figured this out correctly. What I need to do now is go make this even smaller, like so, and make this less obvious than the others. Let's look at it. See that? So we have that glitchiness going on, and then we have the zoom in. Perfect. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and try to give even better details to everything that we're doing now, and I'm gonna go first by creating a new solid. I'm gonna call this form. So what I want to do is I want to find a way whereby I can read the environment and turn it into details into the environment, like these points here. How did I do all these points here? And that's what we're going to figure out in this part. All right, that's it for this part. Thank you so much for watching the tutorial until this part. There is a part 2 coming up on Saturday. Make sure you tune in. If you're already so hasty and you want to figure out how I really did this with the exact details and the exact setup, you can find it on my Patreon. I put the link in the description below. That would help me to continue and do this probably full time. My name is Mr. Popo, and I hope you really liked this video. If you did, let me know by liking this video and subscribing if you want more content about motion graphics. My name is Mr. Popo, and we are Popo. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Nope, I'm not gonna cover the camera. Nope, I'm just gonna cut it in post. That's it.